Hello class, so this would be our first meet up via online. Before we proceed to the first topic, we're going to discuss on the syllabus of this particular course. So we will explore the different pages of the syllabus of this course, Environmental Science. So as you can see here, the course code is GEE and then ES. It stands for the General Education and ES for the Environmental Science. So there's no prerequisite, means that you can take this course without prior requirements or other courses needed before you have this particular course. And for the component, so this is under the General Education course, and the program and year level that take this course for second year level of PSHM. Now let's proceed to the right side of this first page of the syllabus. You can see here the course credits has a three total units, and then for the contact hours or week, so we have 3 hours, and we don't have an hour or unit for the laboratory. So it is purely a lecture. And then it is under the college or department in the College of Business and Management with the BSHM department. So this course is under the first semester with the academic year 2025-2026, and yours truly, the faculty of this particular course, Jason Bicano. And then in the lower part of the first page of the syllabus, you can see here the core values. We have BISU, stands for balance, integrity, stewardship, and uprightness. And for our institutional graduate attributes, we have innovative and virtuous professionals. And then for the program educational objectives, we have 3 to 5 years after graduation, the Bachelor of Science in Hospitality Management graduate is capable of assuming leadership roles in dynamic, multicultural, local, and international fields of hospitality and tourism sector. And for the program outcomes, it is based on the CMO 62 series of 2017. And then under the program, we have program outcomes, as you can see here. So we'll no longer read the program outcomes. Let's proceed to the next page. So as you can see here, there are 6 total program outcomes. For the clarification, as you can see here, the program, the right term, program, which is the Bachelor of Science in Hospitality Management. And then the course, that is we usually use the subject. Okay, as you can see here, course is environmental science. As we practice, when we say course, we will answer, what is your course? We will answer HM. But the right term is program. Our program is BSHM, and your course in this particular course that I handle with you is environmental science. Okay, so that's the right term, by the way. So let's proceed to the next page. Under the course outcomes, so it means that there are possible outcomes of the course. The course is environmental science. That is why you can see here it explains specifically about the environmental science. Whereas for the program outcomes, as you can see here, it talks more about the BSHM, produce food products and services complying with enterprise standards, so on and so forth. So program is BSHM, and then the course is, for example, environmental science. Okay, so that is the right term. So under this course, we have 5 chapters that we're going to tackle with. Um, Chapter 1, we have Introduction to Environmental Science and Hospitality Sustainability. And there are various subtopics under this chapter. So again, we have 5 chapters. Introduction to Environmental Science and Hospitality Sustainability. We also have Ecosystems and Biodiversity in Tourism Destinations. And for the chapter 3, we have environmental impacts of hospitality operations. Chapter 4, we have climate change and its effect on tourism. And lastly, for chapter 5, we have environmental laws and laws, policies, and green practices in hospitality with various subtopics. Okay, so within the semester, we're going to discuss on the 5 chapters with various subtopics. And these are the reference that I have used for this particular course, as you can see here. And then this is the grading system. We have 30% for the major examination, that is the midterm examination, and we also have final examinations. So you're going to take 2 major examinations. So that will have an equivalent of 30%. And then we also have major outcome-based projects. Um, Within the semester, we're going to have a outcome-based project that also comprises 30%, as you can see here. And then class standing, that's the quizzes, activities, and other outputs or performance that comprises 40% with a total of 100%. Okay. And by the way, we have it is the syllabus reviewed by the chairperson of this program, Sir Gary Ditorion, and approved by our college dean, Dr. Arlinda N. Ramasola. So, as you can observe in the setting of our class, we have online class and we also have face-to-face class. Okay, so in my part, in my pedagogy, or in my system or strategy, I'm going to upload once a week online lecture. So you can review, you can study the online lecture, you can replay it if you will. So that is once a week. And you can watch that online lecture for a week. And then I will also provide one quiz via Google Form. So you can see the online lecture uploaded in the Google Classroom, okay, in the classwork part or area. Okay, so one online lecture per week, and then you also have to take the online quiz via Google Form. Okay, and then once you answer the online quiz, you cannot see the right answer or your score right away after answering the online quiz, but you can see or you can receive the total score after the deadline. Okay, so now let's proceed. So that's only for the introduction for this course, and now let's proceed to the first topic in chapter 1 and first subtopics, that is the introduction to environmental science and hospitality sustainability. So expectedly, after we discuss on this topic, we're going to take the online quiz. Okay, so I will set deadline and I will post it in our group chat. Okay, so once again, good day to all of you. So today we're going to begin the first chapter of this course, Environmental Science. And we will have this chapter 1. And then the first subtopic is about the Introduction to Environmental Science and Hospitality Sustainability. So we're going to explore the intersection of environmental science and sustainable practices in the hospitality industry. So again, we're going to explore the intersection of environmental science and sustainable practices. And we're going to focus on the hospitality industry because we are part of the hospitality management department. So, as a future hospitality managers, you will have an aim to become a manager soon, or supervisor, or maybe the owner of a particular hotel or resort. You will see how environmental science not only affects the world around us, but also directly impacts how we can run the hotels, resorts, and other hospitality operations, especially now in the 21st century. So let's proceed to the next slide. So, what is environmental science? So, the environmental science, okay, is an interdisciplinary field, meaning it brings together knowledge from biology, chemistry, physics, economics, and social sciences. So I know that you have already take these different branches of science when you are in high school, biology, chemistry, physics, but it has also a connection with the economics and social sciences. Especially we are under the College of Business and Management, so has a combination with the environment with the business. So we're going to study how the humans interact with the natural environment. So for us in the hospitality industry, this means that understanding how guest activities, facility operations, and even supply chains influence nature and how we can make this interaction more sustainable. Especially that we're going to interact with the guests, and that is normal in daily operation in the hotel or resorts. So we're going to study on how we can interact this to the guest that has a more sustainable or has a connection with the sustainability. So there are core areas also that we're going to consider. There are four areas. Here we have ecology and biodiversity. We also have pollution and climate change. We also have resource management. And lastly, we have sustainability practices. So it is primary goal is to understand the environmental challenges and find solutions that protect ecosystems and human well-being. So that is the solutions we can apply directly on hospitality settings. So that is the definition of the environmental science. Now let's proceed to the scope of environmental science. So what are the different scope of environmental science? We have natural systems, policy foundation, we also have human impact, and lastly the social factors. So this scope is, as you can observe, it is very broad and it includes studying the natural systems like the air, water, soil, and biodiversity health across different ecosystems. So when we say environmental science, it talks about the natural system as I've mentioned here. So one of our question is that is there any connection with our industry in the hospitality industry? Yes, there's a connection on that part. And then we're going also to investigate the human impacts such as the pollution, deforestation, and climate change caused by human activities. So there's also an impact to the environment on the activities made by the people or made by the human. Okay, so these are the different scope of the environmental science. And then we also have the social factors. Okay, the social factors example for this is the integrates social, economic, and political influence on environmental outcomes. And the fourth one is the policy foundation that provides scientific basis for sustainable development policies and practices. So there's a little bit similarities between the social factors and policy foundation. That is why the different laws or the different bills submitted by the legislative in our government, the basis for that is on the situation of our environment. So these are the main scope of the environmental science. Now let's proceed to the next slide. Why environmental science matters today. So first, we can see there are top reasons of this one, and this is the global challenges. Okay, so we face global challenges like accelerating climate change, as you can observe in our climate now. There are some changes. For example, the months that is intended for the rainy seasons, we experience sunny seasons. Okay, and then we also have critical reasons depletion, as you can read here, and unprecedented biodiversity loss. And lastly, the environmental justice concerns. So the environmental science help us to protect resources for future generations. It will support sustainable growth and balance environmental and social needs while reducing our ecological footprints. So, environmental science provides both the warning systems and solutions needed to address our most pressing ecological challenges. So, there are different challenges we encountered in relation to environment. That is why I think the CHED or the Commission of Higher Education included the environmental science as part of the general education, and it is not only for the hospitality management student but also across different programs. You can ask for your classmates or friends, classmates in high school or friends in college. I think and I believe that they also have this kind of course, environmental science, regardless of their programs. Okay, so it is really important because the problems or the challenges we had today might be more challenging in the near future or in the next generation. That is why it is important that the students or the faculty or the community must be aware on the current situation of our environment to mitigate and to provide solutions. So the hospitality industry that we are going to part with has a major environmental player. We have a role to play to prevent those challenges. So the hospitality sector is a significant player in the environmental impact. So the tourism, they have account for about 5% of global greenhouse gas emissions. And hotels rank among the top third of commercial buildings for energy and water use per square foot. There are different resorts, different hotels, different like accommodation or restaurants are using water, are using energy. So we are also a great contributor of the problems. That is why we have a role to play to mitigate, make some policies, make some um, culture, the right lifestyle that can prevent those challenges and mitigate challenges that we encountered and provide some solutions. So as the industry grows, so does its environmental footprints also, and making sustainability a necessity and not a choice. As you can, I think you have heard news before from the former President Duterte on what he imposes before in the Boracay. So there are many hotels, resorts in Boracay, and there's a problem on the water quality on the in the beach. Okay, so because of that problem, the former president imposes that if they will not follow the right uh, process of the waste of their water waste and solid waste management, the president will close the particular hotel or resort who did not follow the standard or who did not follow the regulations. Okay, so as you can see on that particular example, the hotels and resorts also contributed to the existing problem in our environment. That is why the hospitality industry, for example, managers, when you graduate, you need to have or to take the responsibility. Okay. So let's proceed now to the next slide about defining hospitality sustainability. So it means that we are going to integrate some eco-friendly practices into every part of our operations while still delivering exceptional guest experiences. So as you can see here in the picture, since we are also contributor on the source or we are one of the greatest user of energy. So instead of using electricity from different various sources, there are different hotels are now using a solar panel. Okay, as you can see here in the picture. So we can focus on four main areas. We have here the energy efficiency, we have water conservation, waste reduction, and responsible sourcing. So once we hear the word hospitality sustainability, we will become a responsible of using the resources that can help the energy preserve, and we can lessen the possible waste that can contribute to the problems in the environment. So hospitality sustainability means integrating eco-friendly practices into all operations to minimize environmental impacts while maintaining excellent guest experiences. Because some might say if we are going to avoid using any resources, we can say that it can affect the satisfaction of the guest. But we are going to think about the possible solutions, possible ways in order to have this what they call the hospitality sustainability. And then we're going to focus on these four areas: energy efficiency, water conservation, water reduction, and responsible sourcing. So true sustainability balances environmental stewardship with social responsibility and economic viability. So this is really an advantageous for the hotels or resort if they are going to follow or if they're going to focus on these four areas. If you're going to use the solar panel, we can have a efficiency on the energy. We can save money, we can save resources. If we're going to preserve the water, Okay, so we can also save money. It can affect our economy or economic viability and also social responsibility because there are many people or houses that needs the water. So if we can conserve water, we can, help other individual to use also the water. As you can observe also, I don't know with your barangays, some of the barangays doesn't have an enough water. Okay, so if we were going to preserve a water, we can help other individual to have an access with the water. So as you can see here, if you're going to make some decisions or make some plans or apply some certain strategies or systems, we can save money. We have this economic viability. At the same time, we obtain the social responsibility. Okay. We also have waste reduction and responsible sourcing, sourcing of energy, sourcing of water, sourcing of other areas. Next, we're going to discuss about the importance of sustainability in hospitality. So this is a new trend, called it Eco Certified Hotel. This is the new trend in various hotel or hospitality industry. There are many hotels and resorts are now following the eco-friendly establishment. Okay, so the sustainability brings environmental benefits like protecting fragile ecosystems and preserving culture, and it also offers business advantages such as reducing cost, as I've mentioned earlier, and it also enhancing reputation. Why it increases the reputation of a particular hotel. So some guests might have received some news that your hotel or your resort are applying eco-friendly. So it attracts guests to stay in your hotel. Okay, so there are different advantages if we are going to apply those particular systems or um, daily operations that has a connection with the eco-friendly activities. And also, again, it attracts eco-conscious guests and it improves resilience in the long run. So there are many advantages if we are going to follow this eco-friendly activity within the hospitality industry. It can save money, it can save resources, we can help the community. At the same time, it attracts more guests. And also the government might give some exemption or discount, for example, the tax, if the particular hotel or resort are applying such environmental friendly activity. Okay, so we are now for the examples of sustainable practices on or in hospitality. So practical example includes the energy management by using like solar panels and smart thermostats. Okay, solar panels, as you can see at the top or at the ceiling of the various hotels and resorts, they are already applying solar panels. It can save energy. Okay, also the LED lighting, it can have a lesser energy being used on that part. We have key card systems, smart thermostats, reducing consumption by 20 to 40% of the energy. So these are the examples of the sustainable practices within the hospitality industry. Number two, about the water conservation with the low flow fixtures and linen reuse programs. Okay. We also have here um, gray water system saving millions of gallons annually. Okay, gray water, it means that the we can say that it is a waste, but it can be reused with the other purposes. Okay, so they were going to recycle the water waste. So they have they have a water waste management, same with the solid waste management. So if the hospitality industry will apply the water conservation, so that is an example of sustainable practices within the hospitality. Next, we have also the waste reduction through local sourcing, composting, and eliminating single-use plastics. That is for in the part of food and waste. Okay, local sourcing, portion control. Instead of providing big amount or huge amount of portion of food, we can provide a limited or right amount or right size to avoid waste of food and drinks. Also, composting and elimination of single-use plastics. That is why there are different hotels now or resorts. Instead of providing a single-use plastic glass, they will provide um, a glass. Okay, not a plastic glass, but a literal glass. That's why also in the other resorts also they discourage of using or providing a plastic bottled water, but instead they will provide a dispenser and they will also provide a glass. So by doing that, it can minimize the use of single-use plastics. Some also they are avoid using the straw, the plastic straw, but instead they will provide a glass straw. Okay. I think you can also observe that in the other fast food like McDonald's or Jollibee, instead of using those plastics, they are using a paper straw, paper bag, etc. So the most successful sustainable hospitality initiatives balance guest experience with environmental responsibility. This is a really nice practices of a resort. They are providing exemptional services at the same time. They have this environmental responsibility. Now let's proceed. This is the second to the last slide. We can, as you can hear from the previous discussion, as I had mentioned a while ago, there are different advantages, there are different benefits, but there are also some challenges of this, and also we have then opportunities ahead. The example challenges include balancing luxury guest experiences with sustainability. Because if you're going to have an eco-friendly activity, there might be a problem with the provision of exemplary guest experiences. Okay. Also, overcoming initial investment costs. Another thing, training staff across diverse cultural contexts. And lastly, measuring through environmental impact. So these are the possible challenges, but there are also some opportunities that will emerge if we are going to apply those things. We have global frameworks like Sustainable Hospitality Alliance, new green technologies with faster ROI or the return of investment, regenerative tourism that restores ecosystems. We can help the ecosystems, we can help the environment because of our initiatives, growing market of eco-conscious travelers. So there are various travelers, there are various guests who are eco-friendly and they would like to stay on the particular hotel or resort that applies eco-friendly activities. So those are the challenges. At the same time, there are emerging opportunities. Now we are in the last slide, the path forward. The environmental science gives us the foundation to understand our impact. Sustainability is now essential for both industry resilience and planetary health. So, the future of hospitality lies in creating experiences that delight guests while protecting the natural world. So, a win for both business at the same time the environment. Okay, so this is the real beauty of this course. You can realize that as we grow our business, we need also to think on the part of the environment. For example, you will increase your income of your particular hotel that you have managed. But there's also a problem with the environment. It decreases the health of the environment while increasing your income. So that is not really a successful one because it improves your business, but it has a negative impact with the environment. The very nice way or the appropriate um, or the success indicators of your business, as you increase your business, as you increase your income, you need also not forget the environment. You increase the income, you will increase the health of the environment. As you increase your income, you preserve the environment and your social responsibility. Okay, so we are end with our first topic under the chapter one. So you're going also to take the online quiz via Google form, and then the due date will be posted in your group chat. And this online lecture can be found in the Google Classroom. Thank you and see you in our next online lecture. Bye bye.